everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified when I upload, which will be on Mondays. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some super bomb breakfast ideas, and they are. They're not overly complicated to make, unlike some of my other breakfast recipes, which may not necessarily be practical to make for breakfast in the morning, but these ones, definitely. They don't require a whole lot of complexity, and they're also pretty healthy as well, which it's always good to start your morning off with a nutritious breakfast. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start off with these 2-ingredient banana pancakes. So what I'm doing is taking 2 bananas, peeling them and adding them to a bowl, and with the fork we're going to mash the bananas so that there's not big clumps of bananas in our pancakes. Then we're going to add in 2 eggs, and we're just going to mix those around with the fork until they're relatively combined. Then once it is, we're going to add some oil to a fry pan, just let that warm up. And then we're going to take 1/4 cupfuls of the pancake batter and just add that to the pan, cooking them for about 3 minutes on each side before flipping them. Then cook for another 2 to 3 minutes, transfer them to a plate, and just keep adding 1/4 cupfuls of the pancake batter until you're out of pancake batter, basically. This was enough for about 4 pancakes. And then once they're ready, serve up your favourite toppings. I am adding the rest of these blueberries that were in this punnet, a little sprinkling of cinnamon, a little drizzle of maple syrup, and then there you go, these 2-ingredient banana pancakes. The first time I had banana pancakes, I thought they were disgusting, but I made this version and now I have a change of heart. They're so easy to make, right? And only 2 ingredients. How cool is that? Now I'm going to show you how to make this berry breakfast cake. So I'm going to preheat the oven to 180 degrees, and then line a cake tin. We didn't have any baking paper at this time, so I used this reusable lining thing, which is not great, as when you wash it, it starts to fall apart. So it's sort of pointless, but it's there for emergencies when we don't have any baking paper. So what I'm going to do is crack 4 eggs into a bowl, add 1/2 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1/3 cup of honey, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to give this a good old whisk until everything's well combined. Then I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of almond meal, 1/2 cup of coconut flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to give this all a mix with a wooden spoon. Then I'm going to add in a cup of mixed frozen berries. Give that all a stir. Then I'm going to spoon the cake batter into the tin, and I'm going to place it in the oven to bake for about 40 to 45 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, as mine started to burn just a little bit, so just be careful. But we're going to take it out, let it cool for a bit, and there you go, this berry breakfast cake. It's actually so delicious, and this is totally meal preppable as well, as this makes multiple servings. Feel free to make some kind of healthy frosting or just eat it as is. Yes, it takes quite a bit of time to cook, but it is well worth it. Now, I'm going to move on to this whole grain banana porridge. So what I'm doing is just taking banana and slicing it up. Then I'm taking a small handful of dates and just chopping them up a little bit. Then in a bowl, which I would recommend doing a way bigger bowl for this, you'll see why later, I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of these whole grain oats. They're made up of a variety of whole grains. And then I'm going to add the bananas and dates. And then I'm going to add 1/2 cup of milk and then 1/2 cup of water to the oats. And this is just personal preference, as I don't like my porridge to be too milky. So I prefer 1/2 and 1/2, but it's up to you. You can do all milk or water or a bit of both. But we're going to attempt to mix this all through, which if you had a bigger bowl, this would be way easier to do. And then we're going to cook this in the microwave for 3 minutes. And after 2 minutes, take it out and stir it a little bit. And then cook it for another minute or 2 or a few minutes. Depends how the liquid is reacting with the oats. Again, if you had a bigger bowl, this would be much easier and it wouldn't overflow like it did a bit here. So just be careful of that. But once it's cooked to your liking and the oats have relatively absorbed the liquid and thickened it. Again, this is all a personal preference thing, but once you're happy with the consistency, feel free to top it with whatever you want. I am doing a small sprinkling of cinnamon, and then I'm taking some of this maple peanut butter and just mixing it in. We were trying out this new peanut butter, and honestly, we didn't really like it because it was too crumbly, but just tried to use it wherever we could, so I used it in this. And then there you go, this whole grain banana porridge. At first I was put off with banana bananas in porridge, but they really do give the porridge a nice flavour, and you don't have to add a whole bunch of sweeteners to make it taste good. So if you're finding your porridge is tasting bland, just add some fruits like banana in it. Trust me, it's a game changer. And if you're using these types of oats, then this is a good way to get some whole grains in. Now onto this final recipe, which is eggs, greens and toast. And we're actually going to prepare our toast, because at this point in time I was using frozen bread, as we have a bunch of frozen bread piling up in our freezer at the moment, so it needs to be used. And this time I'm not using the stove ground sourdough, I'm using this Howden wholemeal loaf. I have to say, I prefer it much more than the stone ground sourdough, even though that's been our signature bread for ages. I think I may have found a new contender. So I'm going to place it in the toaster on the defrost setting. Then to start preparing our eggs, I'm going to add a drizzle of oil to a small saucepan, put that on a low heat and let that heat up. And then once it has, but not so hot that it will start sizzling, because otherwise the eggs are immediately going to start sticking to the saucepan. As soon as you can, reduce the heat and start stirring them. And I mean, do not stop stirring them, because that can be the difference between them sticking and them not sticking. So just continue to stir them, and eventually they'll start to come together. And I find that this method of cooking scrambled eggs for me works the best. No whisking or anything prior, just crack them straight in and start mixing, keeping the heat as low as it can be, but enough to still cook them. Thanks, Jamie Oliver. And then once you've got them to a nice creamy scrambled egg texture, that means they're ready. So I'm going to spoon them onto a plate, and then you can use the same saucepan, as I don't like to waste dishes. And we're just going to saute up some mixed greens to add a little bit of greenery to our breakfast. These only need a minute or two at most, as I'm sure you know that with greens they wilt pretty quickly. So just stir them around, and then when they're sauteed, add them onto the plate with the eggs. And depending on the bread you're using, the defrost setting on the toaster will be enough to toast the bread, but if it's not, just put it back down on the normal setting and toast it to your desired liking, and then spread it with whatever you want. I love my nut butters, so I like to spread one slice with peanut butter and another slice with almond butter, because I couldn't just choose one. But then there you have it, eggs, greens and toast. I couldn't come up with a better name for this, but that's what this is. It's simple, it's delicious, and it's one of my go-tos if I don't know what to have, because it's super easy to whip up. So that is it for these healthy breakfast ideas. I hope that you all enjoyed and will try these out. These are all so delicious, and a couple of these are even some of my go-to breakfasts, so you know that they're realistic as well. Please let me know in the comments what other types of recipe videos you would like to see. I just want to keep doing them and sharing a whole bunch of recipes, because I just love food. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any new videos. So, till next time, in the next video, I shall see you then. Goodbye.